Hello and welcome to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host Calvin, and joining me from the shelter in Detroit, Michigan, it's Nick Richardson.
Hey, what's up, man? I just had some of my mom's spaghetti.
Oh snap.
Yeah, my knees are weak and my arms are heavy now.
Oh man. We're talking rap albums today. We
Top
went
10, son.
and got our top 10 rap albums. Subjective, of course, top 10 favorite rap albums of all time. I've got 10. Nick's got 10. We're going to jump right into it because I don't want this to take too long. And yeah, we got a lot to cover. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
Let's do it. Hopefully you guys find some cool new music. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I would love for you guys to find some cool new music if you haven't heard this stuff.
Yeah, if you haven't heard it, or if you had, listen to it again because it's fucking awesome.
It is.
So let's start with what makes a great rap album in your mind.
In my mind, I'll put it simply. It's a combination of several things.
Okay.
It's a good flow.
Yep.
Like, you gotta have rhythm. Good beats. Like, they don't have to be. By that, I don't mean bangers. I don't mean.
Well, see, that was my first point. Is bangers. Obviously, you gotta have bangers on the album.
It helps to have bangers, but I think if the beat complements the flow, that's a good beat. Vocabulary, that's a big one. And an overall, I don't know, not necessarily a story to tell, but a story to tell. Like, whether it be your life story or how you got to where you are or something like that.
Yeah, I like that.
That's kind of how I feel what makes a good rap album.
Yeah, so my answer was, again, bangers, obviously.
Bangers.
And then something that it's more of a je ne sais quoi quality. It's like I can remember where I was and how I felt the first time I heard almost all these albums I listed. And that to me makes something a great album is like when you hear a song from it or when you're listening to the album, it takes you back to that place of the first time you heard it.
That memory association. It's
right.
You know, like your grandma's pie or some shit.
Yeah, it's something that only music can do is just like completely transport you to it. Because a lot of my stuff is from between 2000 and 2004. So like to be back in that world of who I was at that time, you know, in 6th to 9th grade and how I felt when this music was coming out, like it made a big difference. And like it's cool to kind of relive those feelings through the music.
And especially finding ones you can still jam to. It's like, oh yeah, okay, let's let this song play. It's fun to remember a lot of those hinge points in my life with you know, that I was listening to a lot of this stuff.
And it's got to have a very minimum amount of skippable tracks.
Yeah,
like it can have one or two, but like for the most part, I want to be able to listen to every song on the album.
Damn right, man. That's what makes a good album. That's another. I completely missed that. That's a really good point. There's so many of those albums that are just the one single.
And you'll see when we get into the list, when I get to like my honorable mentions, like a lot of those were ones that they were the songs that I like on them are very, very good, but then the rest of it is skippable and like I don't even want to listen to it most of the time. So it's like, okay, these are really good songs, but it's not a great album because if you skip half of the songs, then it's not a great album, obviously.
Definitely not.
How do you feel about skits on a rap album?
What's that?
How do you feel about skits?
They can be. There's two trains of thought, man. If it's a funny skit, okay, I'm game to listen to a funny skit. But if it's like Ken Kniff from Marshall Mathers LP, I don't really want to hear that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For the most part, I'm not a fan. Like there can be good ones, like you said, but I don't care that much.
No, most of them are lame.
It to me, it almost takes you out of the album, out of the story that the album's trying to tell.
Agreed.
I think in the early 90s, it didn't as much. Like when you get NWA ones or Biggie like to put skits on his, those don't take you out of as much as like the early 2000s, late 2000s ones did. But they were there to complement the story that was being told by the album. And then as we got into the 2000s, it was like, oh, let's just throw this thing that I think is funny in there. And here's the thing. Rappers don't really know what funny is.
No, most of them aren't very funny that I've found.
They're only funny inside of rap.
Yes.
Like they can connect. Yeah, they can connect words in a way that makes them funny, but they would not be able to tell a stand-up joke.
No, they would bomb on stage, in my opinion. But my opinion doesn't really mean much of anything. So there's that.
So we're going to go 10 to 1, counting down to the number one album for both of us.
Okay.
I want you, before we get too deep into it, and this is mostly because I want to talk about my method, but what was your method for determining your top 10?
Honestly, I just kind of sat down and I scrolled through my library of music, and as I'm scrolling through, I'm looking at the names and I'm looking at all these songs, and then it started bringing back. It's like, okay, I remember that album. Okay,
you started to remember where you were when you heard it.
Exactly. And I remember where I was when I heard all these. A lot of them were at hinge point times in my life, and shit, man, I'm ready to dive in.
So mine was a little bit more complex because I'm weird and I use spreadsheets and math. So I have a good stuff playlist in iTunes, which is basically any song that I've ever liked at any point in time in my life goes onto the good stuff playlist. So it's like 6,000 songs.
Holy so shit.
I took that and put it in. I don't know if it's that big. I don't have iTunes open, so I can't look at it. But I took that, put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then found the rap albums with the largest number of songs in that playlist, which that narrowed it down to 24 albums. So then I had to go down to 10 from there. So I split out all the albums onto their own sheets in the Excel spreadsheet, wrote every song down from each album. I excluded skits and intros and outros, things like that. Those aren't songs, they don't count. And then I rated every song on each album 1 to 10. And then I took the average rating of each album and compared them. The 10 highest albums became my top 10. There's only one exception, and that is Kanye West, who technically would have had 3 albums in the top 10.
Damn.
So I didn't want to be too heavy on any artist, so I had made a rule going in that if an artist gets more than one album, I pick the better one and the other one drops down to honorable mentions. So I could, get more variety in there. And it would have been very bland if I had 3 Kanye West albums.
Yes, but
So 2 of them got bumped out to make room for my bottom 2 on this list.
Yeah, I have multiples on this list, but that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, that was your method. My method was I wanted to spice things up. So let's start with
man. That was pretty epic, actually.
When we do awesome. Music ones, I put like way too much thought into it. If you go back and listen to episode 5, our episode on Fall Out Boy, I did the same thing. I broke everything out into a spreadsheet, ranked all the albums. Like I like looking at music analytically because music is usually not something that should be looked at analytically. Either you like it or you don't. So it's kind of cool to take that and put it together.
Hey, it sounds cool to me, man. I'm terrible at math. I would somehow
Excel does a lot of the math for you.
It's terrible at Excel. Terrible.
So let's start at number 10. You were going to go first on all of these. I mean, I guess we don't have to. We'll switch back and forth. You go first on number 10, though.
All right. This is...
I wonder if we have any of the same. That'll be fun.
I'm sure we probably have at least
I'm sure we have them at least... I want to see if we have any at the exact same number. That'll be exciting.
Okay, so number 10 for me is Godson by Nas from 2002.
I have no Nas on my... we should mention, we put a Twitter poll earlier, and Nick said that all of his were going to be Genuine and Pitbull, so already starting off on a bad foot.
Yeah, dude,
I would have liked the all Genuine list.
That's my number 1 and number 2. Sorry to spoil you.
Tom Haverford's list right there.
I was actually watching The View was on in the break room, and then Pitbull came on. I'm like, you know what? That's Pitbull's my guy. Terrible. I love Pitbull. He's so awesome. I don't love Pitbull.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I can't stand Pitbull. But
all
anyway.
Right, so, Godson, Nas. What year was this? This was
2002.
So that was his 3rd album, right?
I do not know, honestly. I'm not
it was really, 2nd or 3rd.
I'm not really a big Nas fan.
Me neither.
I just really, really like this album.
Is that the one with One Mic and I Can?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which,
I love
honestly,
those songs.
I really like Book of Rhymes. Like, that's my favorite song. And when I heard it, little brother lives down south. And then I lived here in the Midwest. And that was like one of the few things I connected with my sisters was Book of Rhymes, because I was like 9, 10 years old. And, my sister played it and I started getting down on that shit. And the rest is history. So, like, that album's pretty okay. It's a great album, let me say that, but it doesn't compare to the rest of this list, which is comprised entirely of Genuine and Pitbull, Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit, and thank you, Calvin, for correcting me on how to spell Genuine.
Yeah. Genuine. Worst song on the album?
Okay, I might get killed for this, but I didn't really like I Can. Never really been a big fan of it, but I've never really...
I liked it at the time, and I've heard it since, and I'm just like, this isn't as good as I thought it was when I was 12.
No, it's not. I think what Book of Rhymes did for me was its beat and the flow, like, are really good, and he's talking about a lot of interesting shit that I liked at the time, and still do, but I can't. It's just like, man, this isn't very memorable for me. This is my least favorite song on this album, and that's kind of.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And I should say for each one, we kind of said why we picked the album, what our favorite song is, what our least favorite song is, basically for each album we gathered. So my number 10, Get Rich or Die Trying, 50 Cent, 2003.
Good choice, man.
It got a 7.4 ranking on the Kelvin meter, which is solid.
That's pretty solid.
Now, College Dropout and Late Registration from Kanye West would have beat it out had I let them stay. But they didn't in this case because I didn't let them stay. So Get Rich or Die Trying sneaks in. This one, like, it banged from beginning to end, honestly.
Yes.
That's every song. There were probably like 2 or 3 duds, but like 50 came out swinging on his album.
Hard.
You get into club video. Yeah, you get into club video with Eminem and Dr. Dre introducing him. And I mean, just anybody at that time that was backed by Eminem and Dre was gonna immediately be picked up.
Oh, definitely.
Like it was crazy. This was Eminem's strongest run from like 2001 to 2004, and it carries over into finding 50 Cent at this time.
Yeah, and 50 Cent, like you said, dude, came out swinging. Yeah. That was hot fire.
He goes downhill fast after this album.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything near as good.
Is almost perfect. There's probably 2 songs that I would skip on it. My favorite song is Patiently Waiting featuring Eminem. Dude. I can still hit every Eminem word in that verse.
That's such a good song.
That song and Renegade were like my 2 go-tos for like Eminem features at the time, and I can still hit every line in them, which one of my greatest achievements. I have 2 children, and this is one of my greatest achievements.
you know though that Eminem wrote Patiently Waiting, that entire song.
I mean, do you want me to do the Eminem verse right now? I could.
Hit it, dude.
No, I'm not going to.
Damn.
I have a very strict rule of I don't sing on this podcast.
I was going to save that clip forever.
I'm not going to. I could do it, but I'm not going to.
Calvin, have you been patiently waiting for a track to explode on?
Yep. Can stun if you want, but your ass will get rolled on.
Here we go.
No, not going to do it. Not going to do it. The worst song is Bloodhound because honestly, I don't know what the fuck Bloodhound is.
I've never even heard that song.
I was looking through the list of the songs. I was like, what the fuck is every other one? I'm like, oh yeah, I know If I Can. That's a great song. 21 Questions, all of them. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Nope, Bloodhound, no idea what it is. Many Men, great song.
That's a fucking great song too.
All right, number 9, I'll go first. This one's rough. Again, this is subjective. And this one also would have gotten beaten out by the 2 Kanye West albums had they stayed. Beware of Dog, Lil Bow Wow, 2000. Yeah, go ahead. Laugh it up. It's fine.
Dang.
I'm okay with my choice. I am.
Hey, man.
Okay.
Do you be proud of your choice?
As a 12-year-old in 2000, this got a 7.56 rating on the Kelvin meter, by the way. This is just a nostalgia pick. It's straight nostalgia.
That's what it sounds like.
I am the same age as Bow Wow, or Little Bow Wow, now Bow Wow. At the time I wasn't really allowed to listen to real hip hop. So like I'm 11, 12 years old. I'm not allowed to have NWA and Wu-Tang and Notorious B.I.G. in my house. So this is something to kind of bridge that gap. I can listen to this. It's the music I like, and it's probably like parentally acceptable. I can listen to it on my stereo. Right. Yeah. But better. Bow Wow is better than Will Smith. I'll say it.
Yep. He's better than Shaq too.
And so this is the worst part is I still listen to everything Bow Wow puts out, and it's not good.
He still puts stuff out.
I got to ride for him. Oh yeah, he hasn't for a couple years, and he's got like a TV show on BET now, and he just I think he just assaulted a woman not too long ago. So
I don't mean to laugh at that, like that's not funny, but the way you just threw that out there caught me off guard.
It's getting rough for Bow Wow right now, so I got to jump off the fan train at some point, but I still listen to it if he puts something out.
I will say, like Mike, that's my favorite thing he ever did.
I've never seen Like Mike all the way through. I can't believe it. I've never seen like from beginning to end. I've caught it on cable a few times, and I'm just like, this doesn't look very good.
It's all right.
It
was good back in the day. Space Jam's way better.
My favorite song is Bounce With Me, which was his first single, and like it just stuck with me. The video has him and like his little friends riding around on razor scooters and like acting all cool and shit. He's got a Mickey Mouse diamond chain. Like it's corny as hell, but it spoke to 12-year-old Kelvin in upstate New York.
Focus on.
The worst song is called This Playboy, and I'm sure nobody has ever heard it, so I'm not going to give any more details on that.
Yeah, this Playboy, this 12-year-old guy named Bow Wow.
Lil Bow Wow.
Lil Bow Wow.
Hey, man, he started out rapping with Dre and Snoop on stage on Death Row tours. He is legit. He is also a child for most of his career, which is rough.
Yeah, I think that, I mean...
Sony had him by the balls for a long time because they're like, oh, no, we want you to do family-friendly stuff. Like, you're the kid rapper, so you can't swear and talk about drinking. And yeah. So that hurt him a little bit.
That don't fly these days.
What do you got for number 9? Save us from Lil Bow Wow.
Kanye West, College Dropout. 2004, son.
Good choice.
I'll get beat up for this a lot, but I love Kanye's first 2 albums.
I love Kanye's every album except the last one. I wouldn't say I love the last one, but it's fine.
My Dark Twisted Fantasy, that was like his last album I bought and actually enjoyed.
That was his 4th album. He has had 3 since then.
Yeah, I quit listening because...
A lot of people think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is like his best album. I disagree.
I don't. I think his first 2 are so good, especially the College Dropout. That is
fantastic.
Obviously in my top 10 albums of all time.
It would be in my top 10 had I not made room for other things because there's too much Kanye.
I had to get this in there because I just remember listening to this album a lot during football practice and shit like that. I kind of came into it later. I definitely didn't start listening in 2004.
Way later.
I want to say I came in like 2009.
I came into College Dropout and really enjoying it like 5 years ago, and that's a rough look for me because I loved Late Registration when it came out.
Yeah, it's good.
But so the problem with this was his single was All Falls Down, which is probably the worst song on the album.
I agree. I do not like that song.
And so I didn't like that song, so I was like, well, I'm not going to go out of my way to listen to more Kanye. And then Late Registration hits, and Gold Digger is just fantastic, an absolute banger. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get Late Registration. I listened to it all, and I never went back to College Dropout until recently. Like, one of my friends was talking about how great College Dropout is, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it another chance, and it is perfect.
It's a fantastic album, and I loved his style. He's telling a story. It's his life. The beats are fantastic. I love that he made most of them. His flow is so catchy and so on point and contrite. His lyrics are great.
He's got features from Talib Kweli and Common. Like, if you get them on, like, that's you got me.
Well, it is just a damn good album. So my favorite song though, Through the Wire. I love this song. I remember the first time I heard it. I was riding around with my buddy Bakhtiar, and it was right after.
Shout out.
Miss you, dude. But his dad just died. So I knew his dad. I grew up with Bakhtiar, so I knew his dad pretty well, and I just felt for my buddy. And then Through the Wire came on, and it was the first time I heard it. And I remember the line, because I'm a champion. Through the wire. But I'm a champion. I'm a turn tragedy to triumph. You know, and that's kind of what I was saying to Buck. It's like, dude, I know this sucks. I know it hurts.
A boost for breakfast and Ensure for dessert.
Ensure for dessert. Sipping on the scissor.
Make a sane man bizarre.
It's just, that's a great song.
That's going to happen a lot, I think, on this episode. We're going to start quoting rap lyrics.
We're going to have a lot of rap lyrics.
It's going to go back to the Dumb and Dumber talk where we just kept quoting it the whole time.
That's all right, though.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'll get some shit for this, most definitely, but my least favorite song on that album is Jesus Walks.
Oh, so, all right. I half agree.
It has nothing to do with the religious aspect of it whatsoever.
Have you heard the remix with Mace, though?
No.
Go listen to the remix with Mace, because Mace fucking kills it.
But I don't
I would agree, except the remix with Mace exists, so that's why I don't agree. All Falls Down is the worst. I'm glad I didn't have to pick a favorite on this one, because
it's a tough,
I don't know that
one,
I'd be able to.
There's a lot of good songs.
Other than All Falls Down, they're all good.
Yeah, Through the Wire for me was just, I shared that moment.
Pretty good. Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. I like Through the Wires. It's definitely top 3 on the album.
It's a really good song. And in the story behind it of him getting in the car accident and having his jaw wired shut, and he's still spitting game.
Yep.
Some balls.
Can't even walk through the airport anymore.
Yeah.
Never going to get through security now. Number 8, what do you got?
I think it's your turn. No,
nope.
you went first last time. All right, Number 8.
Snake Draft.
It's Wolf by Tyler, the Creator from 2013.
Never heard it. I'm not gonna say I'm not a Tyler, the Creator fan. I just never. He came along too late. I never got into it.
This was right in the tail end of my I'm gonna do bad shit with my friends.
Oh, okay. So because you also hit a point of like, I don't care about finding new music anymore. Have you gotten to that point yet?
Yes, absolutely.
I got there about 2-3 years ago. So I'm just like, if it comes at me, I'll get it. But like, there's not a lot that I go out of my way for anymore.
No, there's very few bits of music I do.
And usually, like, Jay-Z puts something out, I'll get it. Kanye puts something out, I'll get it. Vince Staples, he's one of my favorite, I'll get it. Lupe Fiasco, I'll get it. But like, any of these other guys, like, I'm not going out of my way to. Drake, I'm off completely now. Like, I haven't liked any of his recent stuff, so I just don't care that he puts out anything anymore.
I haven't liked anything from Drake in 10 years.
Yeah.
But this was, in my mind, the epitome of Tyler, the Creator's game. Like, his first his first album or two, I don't remember if it was the first two. They're okay, but the whole talking about, like, rape and shit like that, I'm not really down with that. Like,
no, rape is bad, people.
Yeah. With this album, it was more of his double entendres, like his
he's a lyricist,
flow.
Right?
He's a brilliant lyricist, and he's a brilliant musician. So I really admire artists that produce and do a lot of their own work.
Yeah.
Like, I admire the fuck out of that. This dude is musically talented. He's not just throwing beats.
Yeah, that's
and
always
talking
cool when
crap.
you find somebody who can do other things on top of just rapping. And like, rap, they're good at rapping too, but like when they can play their own music or create their own music, like Kanye is one of the best producers of the last 20 years. And I mean, you see it in the Blueprint, every one of Kanye's albums, a lot of Jay-Z's albums and some of these other guys, you see how great of a producer he is, that at the time, like when the Blueprint came out, I had no idea Kanye basically made all the beats for that.
He's musically talented.
Was. Yeah.
Exactly. No one
So
did.
it's cool to see these other things. And like, you get somebody like Lil Wayne who can play guitar really fucking well too. Well, not
he's
really
all right.
well, but he's pretty good, and he's not afraid to take chances with it.
No, like, I admire that shit. Like, good for them. I like musically talented. That's why I listen to music. Like, I don't listen to this shit to just, hit me with that. And that's what he did really well.
No mumble rappers on these lists.
Fuck no. And last but not least, I really loved his kind of fuck the world, but at the same time, he's nerdy. Like, he talks about, he raps about like kittens and shit. And I love cats. I'm a big History Channel nerd. Like, a lot of the things he's into, it's like, okay, that makes him a lot more approachable in my mind and a lot more relatable. So my number one song off that album is Slater. And that beat is so fucking nasty, dude. Oh my God, it is killer. And he's just, there's so many double entendres that, I mean, I remember the first time I heard it, I sat back and I'm just like, woo, damn, woo. You know how it is when you hear that first song, you're just amazed by it. You gotta look up Slater and listen to it.
What's the name of the album? Cause I'll probably go
Wolf.
Okay.
And then
you've given it a glowing recommendation. I will check it out.
I cannot recommend Slater enough. Like, that song sealed the deal for that album. Most of it's pretty good. He has 2 fantastic songs on there that are just top flight, like some of the best rap I've heard in 15 years. The rest are really good. And then there's this song Jamba that I can't stand because it's like a bunch of just noise. That's what
awesome.
That's kind of what it hit me.
Sounds fun.
It's a fun album.
All right, I'll definitely check that out. So you've given me at least one new thing to check out. My number 8, and I'm a little sad that it fell this far, but it did. The Black Album, Jay-Z, 2003.
He was getting no love, man. On our Twitter poll.
Let's see what he ended up at.
He's at like 3%. Damn.
4% out of 54 votes. Like, just nothing. I can't believe that. A lot of love for Other, which is great because it spurred a lot of good conversation, which we'll talk about. Maybe before we get to our number ones, we'll read the Twitter feedback.
Nice.
But Black Album 2003, I was surprised because for this I had nominated the Black Album and the Blueprint. I thought the Blueprint would win out, but what I found is the Blueprint's great songs are better, but the Black Album has more unskippable songs. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot on the Blueprint that I still don't like and would skip if they came on my shuffle. the Black Album is perfect. Like, there's nothing that I wouldn't skip on it, or that I would skip on it.
It's like Metallica's The Black Album. It's one of those that's just so good. And it's always fun to find those.
Perfect retirement album. It's a great way to go out on top, because that's what he was doing in 2003. He was dating Beyonce. He said, all right, I'm done with this. I'm a billionaire. Got the hottest chick in the game, wearing my chain.
I'm out.
And, you know, he's going to go on and buy a stake in the New Jersey Nets at the time. He's just like, I don't need this anymore. He realized he wasn't good at it anymore because his life didn't mean what it used to mean.
He didn't have anything to rap about anymore.
Yeah, he couldn't put the heart into it. And that's what happens with a lot of these guys who have great first albums, and then after that they fall off. Like 50 Cent had a great first album because he had so much to put into it, and then it went straight down because now he made $4 million off of selling vitamin water. Like, he's got nothing to do anymore.
No,
nothing to rap about. Yeah. You know, there's a world that I'd like to live in where this is the last album Jay-Z ever did. And I would love that. Kingdom Come was just awful. Then he did the American Gangster soundtrack, which was fine. And then the Blueprint 3 came out, again, fine. Magna Carta Holy Grail, not very good. And 444, a lot of people like it. I did not like it at all.
Well, I mean, you can't really go down as the greatest of all time if you leave the stage late. You know? Yeah. Like, it just...
Well, it's the same thing we talked about when we were talking Tupac and Biggie. To me, Biggie is better because, unfortunately, he left before he could get bad. Tupac put out a lot of bad music. Biggie didn't get a chance to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what Jay-Z's been doing the last 10 years, is just like putting out music that isn't good, and it's hard. Like, I would very much like that the Black Album was the last thing Jay-Z ever did, because it would be just crystallized as perfect. And I'll fight for the crossover Collision Course with Linkin Park. I don't know why people don't like that. I thought it was cool.
It's been a while since I've heard anything from that, but I do remember enjoying it, and that was like one of my introductions.
People hate on it so much. I don't get it. So my favorite song from the Black Album is track 3, What More Can I Say, which was just like his "All right, I'm leaving forever" song. You guys are gonna miss me when I'm gone kind of thing. And then the worst song is Allure, which again, that's one that I can't think of off the top of my head what it sounds like.
Nah, it's not ringing any bells.
No, so. That happens. There's got to be one skippable song on an album, I guess. So, okay, number 7. My number 7 is Lasers, Lupe Fiasco, 2011.
Nice. Good choice.
Got a ranking of 7.64. And these next ones are all very close. So, like, the Black Album came in at 8th, but between 8th and 5th, there's only 0.3 of a point in between them. So, like, it was all close.
Very close.
And I didn't give anything less than a 5. Like, if a song was skippable, it got a 5 just based on who the rapper. I was like, okay, I don't know what that song is, but I bet it's at least a 5 because I know who this person is and I know they're good.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So this was a problem. Lupe Fiasco was always somebody I slept on, and after Lasers came out, I kind of went back and listened to a lot more and was like, damn, I shouldn't have slept on him because he's fucking awesome.
A lot of people did, bro. Mm-hmm. A lot of people did.
Because I didn't really like Superstar or Kick Push. So I was like, and now I like Kick Push now that I've listened to it more and gotten a better feel for it. But like when I hear it on the radio, you just kind of hear it in the background. It's nonsense. And same with Superstar. And then like as I started listening to them and thinking about them more, like they're really good and everything he's done is really good. And I'm upset that I slept on him for so long because he's honestly probably one of my top 5 rappers now.
He's a different kind of rapper too.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of boisterous is a good in my mind. Like he's got a lot of those horns and he incorporates a lot of funky shit.
There's a lot of music behind it.
Yeah, and
more so than beats.
Like we said, we love that.
Yeah, and he's another one that's just a straight lyricist, always trying to come up with the cleverest rhyme out there, and he does a good job of that. My favorite song on the album is The Show Goes On, which was the single from the album. And the worst song, and this one was honestly pretty hard to find a worst song because they're all like, I ranked them all pretty much 7 to 10. So like I just had to pick the one that I recalled the least, and that was Break the Chain, which it's fine. It's just not great. It doesn't do anything for me.
It's alright.
Yeah. What do you got for number 7?
For number 7, it's actually not an album, but a mixtape.
What? Is it Drake?
Yes. Fuck no. What is this? No, it's.
I would take that first Drake mixtape if you submitted it.
I'll talk about that later. It's honorable mention. But anyway, number 7, I have The Drought 3 by Lil Wayne from 2007. I remember when I stumbled upon this mixtape because I really was introduced to Lil Wayne, which is terrible, in 2008 when the Carter 3 came out. Like really, really introduced to him. Like I'd heard him on the periphery. I'd never really, I actually had one of his CDs.
The Carter 2 is almost as good as the Carter 3, so you missed something. Yeah,
have you listened to the Drought 3?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Bro, 27 songs, 2 hours of just bangers.
So,
oh my god.
With the Drought mixtapes, because like the songs are good and they use beats that you're familiar with, so he just takes other rappers' beats basically and puts his own spin on them. But the problem is his flow gets lost in the beats sometimes, and it's hard to kind of keep track of it, and like it gets a little grating after a while on the mixtapes. But I get it. I get what you're saying.
10 songs on that album that are just absolutely stunning, and whenever they come on
so
shuffle,
if you'd put some math into this, I think you would have realized that the album overall is not great if it only has 10 good songs out of 27. But you didn't put any math into it, so that's on
I'm
you.
a son of a gun. But I tell you what, I still listen to my favorite song from the album, Walk It Out. I still listen to that shit and sing every lyric, that entire song, because
let's do it. Get it.
Hell no, I ain't doing that. But it has one of the most raw lines on earth.
Well, and so, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm not saying the line because it's really, really graphic. But anyway, it's dope. Just the way he strings it along in his wordplay and his double entendres basically. It's like the ultimate flex in that song. I loved Walk It Out. It's such a good song.
So that was a cool thing about that time, 2005 to 2009-ish, was like this mixtape boom.
Seriously.
People using other people's beats and putting their own raps over them and then giving them to you for free because they knew everybody was getting their music for free anyways. So like we had this boom, and it was really cool that you could listen to some of these kind of corny songs. Like Walk It Out is a super corny song if you listen to the DJ Unk version. But
I hate that song.
But that beat is actually pretty sick. A lot of these dance songs that were coming out at the time had really good beats. And so then you could listen to somebody like Lil Wayne rap over it, and that's what you wanted. Same thing with he has another good one on it. He does a cover of Throw Some D's on it.
Throw some D's on that bitch.
Like, that's not a good song, but when you listen to Lil Wayne's version, it's something you want to listen to.
And I mean, he a lot of those songs, I'd say 3/4 of them, and this is ultimately why I put this album here, he improved on those songs. Mm-hmm. Like, he took them, he made them his, and he improved on them. Like, King Kong is so nasty. Absolute banger. Walk It Out's a banger. There's so many bangers on that album, and when you can just take someone else's beat and then shit all over them, that's thugging, dude. That's Lil Wayne. Yeah. But my least favorite song.
I'll give a. Sorry, I gotta give. While we're talking about Walk It Out, hit the remix of Walk It Out with Andre 3000. You don't have to listen to the whole song. Just listen to the Andre 3000 verse. It's fantastic.
I got it down, bro. I'll listen to it.
Listeners, check out Andre 3000 on Walk It Out remix. Again, don't listen to the whole song. And also, the two-step remix has a great T-Pain verse also.
Yes, I let my bank, bro. Love that shit.
Got a lot of zeros.
Tell a pain. Yes, dude. That's
the hero.
That's like the first 15 seconds of that song, and that's
got a crib
down in LA.
Yeah. So my brother told me a story. He's got a friend who, like, he works there now, but at the time they were in college, and he had like an uncle who works at Radio City Music Hall, or at the Giant Stadium, and T-Pain was doing a show at Giant Stadium, at the New York Giant Stadium, and his friend was there, like, with his uncle or whatever, and T-Pain's setting up, doing mic checks and everything, and like the first thing he came out to do mic check was just the my bankroll from the two-step remix, and like he said, it was the coolest thing ever, just in a completely empty stadium to hear him do that.
That would be so
with no auto-tune or anything. Yeah,
he's actually got a good voice.
He has a great voice.
Surprisingly,
we'll talk about T-Pain later.
Oh shit! But least favorite song, and then we can move on, is "Seat Down Low." I got my seat down low in my top.
Yeah,
that's just boring. It's really
and
that's one of the few that's not improved.
There was already a really, really good version of that song. Of the Top Down remix might be one of the best rap songs of all time.
Might be.
So we're now on number 6. Your turn.
Number 6 is Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar from 2012.
That one did not make my honorable mention. Did not make it onto my list.
That sucks.
Just missed out. Yeah,
it was really
album. Close. I actually think I fudged it a little bit to Get Rich or Die Trying on, because I feel for Get Rich or Die Trying. Get Rich or Die Trying is one of those that I can remember where I was. Good Kid, Mad City. Other than Backseat Freestyle, I don't remember where I was the first time I heard it.
That's funny, because that's the first time I heard it was Backstreet Freestyle.
Backstreet Freestyle is so good.
I walked into my my buddy's house, and we're all sitting around kind of hanging out, drinking some beers, and my buddy Tony, who is like the straight...
Shout out, Tony.
He's straight Italian, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's from Chicago, and he's just stringing the whole verse together, and I'm like... I walked in on him going, Martin had a dream. And so I'm like, okay, what the fuck is Tony talking about? Like, how much has this dude had to drink? And then he starts getting it. And I'm just like, okay, who the fuck is this? And then they started telling me about Kendrick, and I immediately fell in love with Kendrick's music. Mm-hmm. Dude is a super hyper intelligent cat.
Again, my first introduction to Kendrick was the Swimming Pools Drank song on the radio, and like, it's not very good. So I stayed off him for a while, and then he did that Big Sean song Control, where he just had that verse where he eviscerated every rapper alive.
Yeah, dude, he shit on him.
And so then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back and listen to more Kendrick, because To Pimp a Butterfly was about to come out. So I was like, all right, I'll go back and listen to his first album now. And I was in an airport, and I had like that, a Mac Miller album, and maybe like a Fall Out Boy or something that was like more rock related. Those are my 3 like traveling albums that I was listening to, and I hit Backseat Freestyle in the airport, turned my headphones all the way up, and I listened to it probably 4 times in a row.
Just because it's so good. And that's not even the best song in my opinion. Kendrick's got a crazy good flow, man. Like, he's the best poet of our time.
And the way he changes his voice and just becomes different characters as he goes throughout each song, like, it's amazing.
The reason my favorite song from this album is my favorite song is the story and like the message he has. Like, Kendrick Lamar, I'm all for this, man. He's really about the black community. Like, he's really about bringing up his brothers and sisters. Like, that's community. Cool. Go for you guys are great. We love you. But Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. Like, that's my favorite song on that entire album. I could listen to that song all day. It always evokes some emotion in me, because the way he spins that tale of people are hating on him, but in reality, like, he's trying to bring a voice, he's trying to get people to see what these people are doing. Like the line, my titties bounce to the jangling of his jingling keys. Like, I thought the way he spins that in there is like, it's almost normal in his eyes, but to me, listening to it as a white dude in middle America, it's like, oh, that's kind of fucked. Yeah, it's just like, that's really fucked up, dude. Like, my life is nothing like that. I get where you're coming. Like, that's crazy. And it's also his anthem of being remembered. And I think that's everybody's wants to be remembebered.
Yeah, as Samuel Tarly says, that's what death is. It's forgetting, right? Mm-hmm. Shout out Samuel Tarly.
You and
Kendrick. Yeah, you and Kendrick would get along. Worst song.
That'd be a cool freestyle. Swimming pools. Yeah. I heard that song at a party, and I saw some dumb chick.
Where there's a remix with a great Jay-Z verse on it, but other than that, it can be thrown away.
I mean, it's an alright. I listened to it at the gym. That's about it.
My number 6, The Carter 3, Lil Wayne, 2008.
Oh.
Got a 7.81 ranking. For 2.5 years, Lil Wayne was unequivocally the best rapper alive. When Fireman came out in 2005 through, I don't know, somewhere in 2010, where he kind of...
Whenever No Ceilings dropped.
Yeah, he went way too far into the Travis Barker camp, and like his songs didn't make sense anymore because it was just really loud Travis Barker drumming, which I love Travis Barker remixes, but like he went too far into it. There was nobody better at that time.
Dude, he was just putting out so much good shit. And that album is so nasty, dude.
Mm-hmm. And the Carter 2 and the Carter 3 are both classics, but every song on Carter 3 is good, and 2 just has some stuff that's like, all right, that's fine. Actually, Nicki Minaj's first appearance is on the Carter 2, and like these little just side things. Interesting fun fact for you there.
I'll take it. I didn't even know that.
She was featured. It was just like featuring Nicki. It wasn't even like her full name. Like she didn't have a full name or anything. Yeah. There you go. But in the Carter 2 is still kind of finding his style, voice, what he was going to be. Yeah. And then the Carter 3 just bang. Like there's no skippable songs. It's just banger after banger after banger. He's got Busta Rhymes on it. He's got Jay-Z on it. He's got Robin Thicke on it. He's got, Bobby Valentino. Just everybody. Fabulous is on it. Cameron's on it. Like, it's just amazing from beginning to end.
It's such a good album.
So, and here's... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Here's a problem. I watched... CNN did this docuseries of basically every decade.
Mm-hmm.
And just what was going on. And it's on Netflix. And I watched the 2000s one. And it's 8 episodes, I want to say. And one is dedicated strictly to the music of the 2000s. And like the whole thing with Napster and downloading music for free. And what kinds of music were good and blah, blah, blah. Lil Wayne makes no appearance.
What?
On this. And they talk about Jay-Z. They talk about like John Mayer. They talk about Eminem a little bit. And it's just like how, like, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing Lil Wayne.
That's what I was going to say. Like,
from 2006 to 2009.
Seriously. Like, he was on MTV every day. Yeah. Like, he was constantly on.
And maybe he just didn't give them permission to like use any of his stuff. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Because he's had a lot of battles over like the rights to his music and how many albums he owes his label and things like that.
Yeah, he had a big court battle over that.
Yeah, so maybe it's like something like that. Like maybe he doesn't own the music anymore, his label does, or it could have been something like that. But like I just can't believe that he wasn't mentioned.
That is kind of a travesty and a sham and a mockery. It's a sham mockery.
That's exactly what it is. Worst song, Tie My Hands, featuring Robin Thicke.
Yeah.
Not great. It's fine. It's not great.
Robin Thicke blows.
Robin Thicke's got some issues. Number 5, Life After Death, Notorious B.I.G., 1997.
Oh, shit.
7.9. I think in my heart I would have hoped that Biggie made it further up the list, but honestly this is probably where he belongs, just because like I didn't grow up with Biggie. Mm-hmm. I came so late to him. I didn't really start listening to him until after I saw Notorious. Like I had heard his big radio songs, but I didn't listen to Biggie at the time. And then he loses some points here because his skits on this album are all part of the actual song tracks, which really bothers me. Like you can't
really
fucking skip
a lot of it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, just a fantastic album. See episode whatever it was where we did all about Notorious B.I.G. 40 something or other. Like go back, we did a whole episode on him.
So good.
Yeah, he's good. Favorite song is Hypnotize, and the worst song is Kick in the Door, because that's
Kick in the Door.
I wouldn't have been able to tell you that's what it sounds like.
It's dumb. It's a dumb one.
What's your number 5?
Life After Death, Biggie Smalls, 1997.
Oh man.
You said it perfectly. This is where it deserves to be. I did grow up with Biggie. I'm not really a big fan of like that super hardcore violent shit.
Yeah.
It kind of bums me out.
That's the same thing there. It's really good, but it's also like it's hard to listen to the album all the way through.
I got to be in the mood for it, honestly. It's still a good album
comes on, I'm banging my head all day.
Right? Like I can listen to most of that album any time of day, but I got to be in the mood to really bang to it. Like get down to it. So my favorite song was What's Beef. I used to listen to that song before every football game, and it got me hyped as shit. And least favorite song or worst song is Miss You, because I've honestly never listened to it. I've had zero urge.
I don't know what that is.
I played it for 3 seconds, and it's like, bye.
Yeah, we've done a lot on B.I.G., so we don't need.
We'll move past him pretty quick.
Yeah. What do you got for 4?
The Carter 3, Lil Wayne, 2000. 2000 was a 2008. Yep. I was looking at a different note. But yeah, God, I remember the first time I heard 3P.
Were you still in high school when this came out?
Yes.
3P's so good. Like, it just... We had a conversation with someone on this on Twitter a while ago about how good 3P starts off and then goes into Mr. Carter and then goes into a Millie. Like, that might be the best opening stretch of an album ever.
Yeah, that whole, like, first 6, 7 songs.
Well, I think 6 is... It's either Comfortable or Tie My Hands, so that's, like, when it gets kind of cut off.
Where's Misunderstood on that album?
Like 9. Like it's late.
God, I love that. I love that song.
I really like La La too with Busta Rhymes and Fabulous. Like that's a good one.
I'm Me isn't on that, is it?
No, that was a mixtape. That was ancillary.
I caught really that after Three-Peat. Fuck, that song was so nasty. Also another song I listened to before every football game. And it just, it's great wordplay, great lyricism, fucking dope, all your great beats. That song to like, I don't know, as your introduction to a lot of Lil Wayne, like really getting into him, woohoo, that was a good one to come into.
Yeah. Well, I came on the Carter 2 with Fireman.
Fireman was what got me. I heard that on MTV before school.
Yeah, and then like I just couldn't stop after that.
I just didn't have any access to, because my dad, he gave me a lot of freedoms, but he was not the kind of dad that was like, hey, let's go to Walmart and get you a CD, bud.
Well, if you'd gone to Walmart, you got the edited version. Anyway,
exactly. So I had to get the album through Backdoor Means.
Gotcha.
So obviously
I got a lot of albums from Backdoor Means between 2005 and 2015.
But imagine downloading an album in 2008. It took like a day and a half.
Oh, I did. That's how I got all my music. But I was in college, so you got in college you got good internet, so it didn't matter if you lived on campus. So
I had dial-up.
Yeah.
I think I had DSL, actually.
So the track listing: Three-Peat, Mr. Carter featuring Jay-Z, A Milli, and then Got Money featuring T-Pain, and then at 5 you get Comfortable. So
Comfortable's all right.
It's fine, but it like breaks that flow, and then you go back into Dr. Carter and Phone Home, and it's like, okay.
Ooh, Phone Home is so nasty, dude.
Phone Home was my jam. That was my favorite one.
I remember I thought I was the baddest motherfucker on earth because I had 2 Kicker L5s with a badass Kenwood amp. I had a great deck, and I had Dynomat on like every inch on the inside of my car, and I used to bang that album so hard. I think my subs
had gone out by the time this came around. Like I didn't ever get my subs only lasted like 2 years, and they gave me so much trouble I just took them out. But I don't think I made it to the Carter 3 with them. But I got a lot of Fireman play out of them, and of going back to Bow Wow. I got a lot of Fresh as I'm Is out of them too.
This was actually the album.
You riding, you ain't bumping if I'm bumping.
You bumping if I'm bumping. But yeah, this was the first album I really got, like I really jammed with my subwoofers. And I remember putting Phone Home on, and that first beat hits, and I stopped the song, and I was cruising out in the country with my buddies. I turn it back and then crank it up as loud as I can. And I just remember seeing my rear windshield just flexing every time. It was just like, yes, that was great.
Yeah, Phone Home was another one that you just you listened to it and then you went back and listened to it again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Same with La La featuring Busta Rhymes, because Busta Rhymes has a sick verse on that.
That is a fucking great song. So that's a great album. That's my number 4. I forgot.
What was your worst song?
Lollipop.
Yeah, I'll take that.
It's bouncy, and I hated hearing. Like it was just so whiny, and all these girls would say it.
Kanye's got a good verse on the remix, though.
Yes, he does. But I was sick of hearing sorry, ladies, but there's always unattractive members of the opposite sex, and a lot of them would quote that, and it's just like, what, just shut the fuck up.
So I let her lick the rapper.
It's like, yeah, no, like you would hear that all through the hallway, and it's just like, oh my god, shut up. And that's my number 4.
So I actually had a 3-way tie at 4.
Damn.
So for 4, 3, and 2, they all tied, so I kind of took them subjectively after that, and I just said, okay, what do I actually like better? So at number 4, I got Big Fish Theory from Vince Staples from 2017.
Nice. I've never actually listened to a Vince Staples album.
Vince Staples is so good.
I have.
Start with this one, and then get Summer 06, and then whatever, then whatever else he has, because he's really good.
We'll talk about it a little bit more.
But this got ranked at 8.2. It's by far the latest entry in here. There's nothing. I got this from 2017, and there's one more coming up from 2013. But for the most part, everything's pre-2010.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I didn't like the music as much after that, and I wasn't as into that. Was when I started to just not go looking for new music anymore. Again, this one's a perfect album from beginning to end. You haven't heard it, but honestly, there's not a bad song on it. I love every single song when it comes on. He's so good. He's so underrated.
So underrated, dude.
Nobody talks about Vince Staples. There's so much mumble rap, and like it's weird that this just complete lyricist has emerged, and nobody's heard of him. Like it's hard to find that, and he is, just waiting for everyone to listen to him. If you like good rap music, listen to Vince Staples. I promise you will not be upset.
I need to get.
He's got a little bit of Lupe, a little bit of Kendrick to him. Like he's good.
He's got a good voice, a great flow, and he's got really good like punctuation when it comes to his raps.
Yep.
He really hits those notes really well.
Yeah, that's something he does well. My favorite song is Bag Back, which was also featured on one of the Black Panther trailers. And like it got me so amped to see Black Panther when I heard that song, because it was already one of my favorite songs, and then I heard it in that trailer, and I'm just like, I just want to watch the trailer again and watch the trailer again. Like I was so fucking pumped for Black Panther.
Fuck yeah!
And then they never played the song in the movie.
Of course, they do that shit all the time.
The worst song is Big Fish, which that's one that like it's just fine. But again, I would still, if it came on, I still listen to it. But it's the worst song on a otherwise great album.
Yeah, you always. I mean,
and it's a short album. I want to say it's 8 to 10 tracks, so it's really short, really easy to get to listen to. And then so his first album is called Summertime 06. It came out in like 2013, I want to say. And it's really good, but it's got a lot more, like he's still trying to find who he is, and by this time he's found that. So if you listen to this first and then go back to Summertime 06, you like realize it a lot better.
I'll have to check out some of his albums for real though, because I do like his style. And I'll talk about him a little later, but I do need to check his shit out.
Number 3, Kanye West, Yeezus, 2013. This somehow, I'm a little surprised that I beat out College Dropout and Late Registration,
man.
But I honestly thought it kind of would, because it's only 10 tracks, and it's a story in an album. Like you have to listen to every song back to back to back to back. Like if one comes on my shuffle, I have to stop the shuffle and go start at the beginning of the album and listen to the whole thing through. And to me, that makes a great album. And there's not, in the course of the album, there's nothing I would skip. If some of these songs come on the shuffle, I might skip them. But like if I'm listening to the album from beginning to end, I don't skip a single song. It's honestly a perfect album from beginning to end. I ranked 3 different songs out of 10, 2 of them out of 9. Like it's just fantastic.
I'll have to check it out. I have a confession, sir. I've never listened to a single song on that album.
Don't listen to a single song. Listen to the album.
I'll have to check it out, man. I've heard a lot of good things about it. You have to
listen to the album as a piece of art, because that's what it is. It's like they don't, like I said, some of the songs don't stand well on their own, but from beginning to end, it's a masterpiece.
I'll have to check that out, man. A lot of people were saying really good things about it, but I was kind of sick of Kanye at that point. That's probably a mistake on my part.
I got sick of Kanye like around the whole Taylor Swift VMAs thing. Like,
yeah, it was like bogus.
808s and Heartbreaks came out around the same time. I was like, I'm off Kanye right now. And then My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, and I got back on the bus a little bit, and then Yeezus came out. And this was one that I listened to. I was driving up to the Panhandle, which is an 8-hour drive from where I live. And I had a bunch of new music that I was going to listen to, but this one came on, and I listened to it all the way through, just blaring in my car. I had whatever phone I had at the time had like a bass booster setting that was turned on for all music that I didn't realize was turned on for all music. So like it just shook my car the whole time, and like I'm on these back roads in the Florida Panhandle, and I'm just, the whole trip I was there for like a week, and I listened to this album the entire time.
Nice. That makes for a fucking good album, dude.
And it's like 50 minutes long, if that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that shit out.
My favorite song is Black Skinhead. It's got a lot of wolf imagery, and like it's a really cool song. It sounds really like bad and hateful, but it's actually a really cool song.
It sounds like Kanye West.
Yeah. And then the worst song is Guilt Trip featuring Kid Cudi, which like I had to pick something, so that's why I picked.
Does Cudi even have any good verses in that?
No, he's just like he's a background singer on that song. He doesn't actually do anything. I like Kid Cudi, but he's never, in my mind, he's never put together a great album. He's been
an okay rapper.
He has good collections of songs. Yeah.
He's like
you're number 3.
He's like Wiz Khalifa. Had some
I don't
good.
like Wiz Khalifa.
What's that?
I don't like Wiz Khalifa. Black and Yellow is awesome, but
I used to love his Cushion Orange Juice mixtape when that came out. That was hot fire.
I do it out. One time, my 2 friends, one was a big Wiz Khalifa fan and the other was a big Drake fan because he's actually a 13-year-old girl, even though he's a 30-year-old man at the time. They argued with me, or they came up to me and asked, they were like, who's the better rapper, Wiz Khalifa or Drake? I was like, what? How is that a question? Neither of them. The answer is no. I said Lupe Fiasco and Wale will bury both of them. So move on with your life. This was probably like 2012. So I'm like, no, move on with this shit.
Nah.
You're number 3.
Marshall Mathers LP. Eminem 2000.
Good choice, but not his best album. Sorry to tell you.
What's that?
I said good choice, but not his best album. Sorry.
I know what you're gonna pick, but this is his best album, dude. This album is so nasty. And after his introduction in Slim Shady LP and coming out to the world, this is the biggest middle finger to the fuck you all. I'm gonna make the music I want to make, and it's good music. As a white kid growing up, that's what really introduced me to rap.
So here's what I'll say about the Marshall Mathers LP versus what I'm going to pick, which I'm not going to tell you yet.
I already know what it is, bro.
I know, but the listeners don't. Except they probably do because it's not that hard to guess. But the Marshall Mathers LP, when it came out, was still at the time when I was listening, by force pretty much, I was listening to Lil Bow Wow type stuff and Sammy and Lil Romeo.
Sammy! I haven't heard Sammy in forever.
Sammy has been...
I used to love Sammy, dude.
So every time he puts out a new album, which he does every 6 years, there'll be a new album, and they're all terrible, but I still download them. Maybe he'll be back. I love Sammy when he was 11 years old.
Yeah, he was awesome back in the day. Shit, I haven't heard that name in forever. But yeah, that's big
those are the
difference.
things I was listening to when the Marshall Mathers LP came out. I'd heard Real Slim Shady and Stan and things like that, but they weren't the album was not on my radar, and it didn't get the whole album didn't get on my radar until much, much later. So again, the one I'm going to pick was much more formative to me than the Marshall Mathers LP.
My mom had the CD and she played it a lot when I was growing up, but I didn't really get into it and kind of embrace it till I could more understand.
So you got a little hate in your heart?
Pretty much, till I became a teenager.
Yeah, you gotta get some hate in your heart to enjoy Eminem.
But
which is when my pick hit me.
Yeah. I just think this is when Eminem really found his voice. Slim Shady LP is really good, but it's still...
Infinite? What's your thoughts on Infinite?
It's the worst album ever. It's too corny, man. And Slim Shady EP's got a bit of corniness in it, but Marshall Mathers is dead serious from the get-go. This, in my mind, is his best example of why he deserves to go down as one of the best rappers alive. He changed the fucking game with this album.
He's getting into Jay-Z territory, though. He's
dude,
put out a lot of bad music recently.
I remember when Relapse first came out in 2008.
I actually banged a Relapse.
I banged it.
It's not good, but I did.
I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
I remember when Crack a Bottle came out, that single, and I still have it in my iTunes, on my phone.
Oh yeah.
And I'll laugh at it every once in a while, but that was such a downfall. That was just such a gut punch.
We were so thirsty for good Eminem again, so it was
I took it.
I kept listening to it because
same here, man.
There were flashes of good Eminem in it. So
he had a couple lines here and there that's just
ooh, so I get into this a little bit, yeah.
And then it disappeared. But he hasn't made anything like Marshall Mathers LP2. I bought it and I've never listened to it. It's too good. It's too poppy, rappy now. It's not rap
a little
anymore.
Bit.
But
it's better than Relapse and Recovery, though.
Okay, I'll give that to you. Not even listen to it. Those albums were so bad. A
lot of people really liked Recovery too. I don't know why.
Because he's recovering. Because
I almost like Relapse better than I liked Recovery.
Yeah, I just thought they were both garbage, and they both should never have been made. Favorite song, Marshall Mathers. That listening to that
I'm sorry. Going back to Marshall Mathers LP2, you haven't listened to it. Have you heard Rap God at least?
I've heard Rap God. I think it's dumb as fuck.
What?
Yeah.
All right, this is over. We're done. I'm moving on. You don't like Rap God?
Nah.
It's 6 minutes of non-stop bars. How do you not like Rap God?
It's too fast for me, and it's just Eminem's trying to sound like Twister.
talks a little fast. Maybe you need to listen a little faster to catch up, bitch. From a D12 song called Bitch.
That's it, I'm done. Call me a bitch.
You gotta listen more D12, apparently.
Fuck D12.
Hey, it's Eminem's band.
We're about to fight over it. Me and my band.
Solid too. I like D12. They're solid.
They had one okay album.
All right. Anyway, what's the worst song?
King Kniff, the skit, because it pretty much just sounds like someone getting their dick sucked the whole time. And
I'll give you that.
I do not want to listen to that while I'm jamming in my car and my wife's sitting next to me, and it's just like that comes on, it makes everything immediately uncomfortable. I remember going through a drive-through and I had my MP3 player on shuffle, and it's like, "Hi, welcome to McDonald's. What can I get for you?" I'll take a chicken.
It's like I think it's Gin and Juice. I don't. It's a Snoop Dogg song. It starts with somebody just pissing for like the first 30 seconds of it.
Oh, it's
and like really super long pissing. And it's like the song is really good, but you don't want to listen to that first 30 seconds. It's like, come on, Snoop, you can't do that to me.
Well, yeah, and needless to say that I mean I'm trying to click it. I'm like, skip. Stop. So of course I drop everything I'm doing. Like I can't get it to stop. And by the time I get up to the drive-through window, there's 4 people standing there like waiting to see me and just laughing at me like crazy.
What is this guy doing?
Pretty much, they're all just like, "Man, what the fuck? This dude's a freak. Ordering McDonald's while getting a blowy. It's crazy." And yeah, that's my by far worst song on that album.
All right, I'll give you that. Number 2.
Number 2. This was hard to split with number 1, but I gotta give it number 2 spot, and it's Doris by Earl Sweatshirt from 2013.
I'm off on Earl Sweatshirt too. Never listened to him.
Love this is when Earl Sweatshirt hits his work. Like, this is beautiful. This album is great. Back to front, it's Doris. It's got a ton of great features. It's got Vince Staples, Mac Miller. It's got a ton of great stuff.
Mac Miller was so good.
Oh yeah, dude. It's got Tyler the Creator on there. His father was a poet, and this was his first album after if you don't know, basically he did a lot of the Wolfgang shit, when he was 15 on. And his mom sent him to Samoa, and basically to detox and get away from the drugs and the shit like that. And this was his first album after he got back. So I loved Earl already, and I listened to all his music. I was not necessarily growing tired of it, but I wanted more so bad. And then he hit me with this. And I remember standing in line to get it, and it's been in my CD player ever since. I've never taken it out, my 6-disc changer. It's just he's a poet. Like, this dude is so good, and he's got this weird flow that's really slow, but it's engaging as shit, and his beats are kind of eccentric. Like, they're not bangers.
I like a little weirdness in the beats. Like, Childish Gambino is really good with that too, of doing like different things with beats and then making your flow fit to that.
Exactly.
Like, I really like Childish Gambino. He didn't even make my honorable mentions, but like I gotta mention him because he's fantastic.
He's pretty good.
Definitely. He's great at that. He's great at acting. Like, anything Donald Glover's doing,
he's awesome.
I'm there. Yeah.
But this was the absolute culmination of Earl's music in my mind. I haven't loved anything as much since or before. But yeah, great album. I remember the second I heard this song, which is my favorite, and it's Hive featuring Vince Staples. Holy
Get him, Vince.
Fuck. His verse in that song is so
I told you, man, don't sleep on Vince Staples.
That was when I first heard him, and I really like his flow. I just never took it to the next step.
Do it.
But Hive is such a great song.
Go to FYE, buy the album on vinyl.
I haven't seen an FYE in 10 years.
We've got one in our mall.
No shit.
They got a huge wall of Funko Pops.
Yeah, I know FYE is pretty cool in that regard, but we had Sam Goody, FYE, and then we just have Best Buy. And that's it where I live.
Best Buy blows.
Best Buy does blow, so thank God for iTunes.
So I went to Best Buy. I've been in search of headphones for a very long time because doing this with you every week for an hour to 2 hours most times, having cheap, bad headphones hurt my ears. So I've been looking for a good pair of headphones that won't break the bank. So I go to Best Buy, I check out the Skull Candy, big over ear ones, and I'm trying them on and just kind of see what I want because I knew eventually I'd go home and order them off Amazon anyways. The ones I got, $130 at Best Buy. Go on Amazon. I got the name of them now. They're Skull Candy Hesh 3, if anyone cares. They're very good. Go on Amazon, $70.
Yeah, Best Buy just gouges the shit out of you.
Over Amazon. That's fucking ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
Because they know old people have to go in there to buy stuff because old people don't know how to use the internet. And then the Geek Squad, don't even get me started on the Geek Squad, who charge you $90 just to bring your computer in, don't fucking do anything to it, and then give it back to you with more malware than you brought it to them with.
No shit.
Don't take your computer to Geek Squad. Please. It's a terrible idea. They're not good at it. Sorry.
They're abusing the name Geek.
I mean, Best Buy, if you want to sponsor us, though, we're more than happy to say good things about you.
Visit our Patreon page.
Yeah, visit our Patreon, Best Buy. All right, so is it my number 2? Did you give a worst song for Earl Sweatshirt?
Worst song is 523, mostly because the beat is
523.
It's just too wonky for me. I can't get into it.
That happens, like we were talking about Childish Gambino. That happens with him too sometimes too. It's like he's got a really good song, but like the beat's just too weird. You can't get into it.
Yeah. All right, what's your number 2, bro?
Number 2, The Eminem Show. Eminem, 2002.
Knew you were gonna say that shit.
Oh, really? I mean, I only hinted at it the whole time. Well, I honestly thought it would come down to this and my eventual number 1 as the number 1, and it played out the way I kind of thought it would. This album is just where I fell in love with Eminem. I had heard The Real Slim Shady, I had heard Stan, I had heard his verse on Forgot About Dre, which again I could do every word right now if you wanted me to, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, it's such a great verse.
That I could do that when I was in like 8th grade and I just walk around doing it all the time and people are like, what the fuck is going on with this kid?
I did that when I served a lot. So a lot of my coworkers thought I freestyled, and it's just like, no, it's just
a badass verse. So between that, Renegade, and what was the other, Patiently Waiting, like I would just be walking around randomly saying Eminem lyrics from his features. But I before this, like I said, I never listened to a full album, only heard the radio, never got deep into Marshall Mathers LP or Slim Shady LP. So this was like really my introduction to all of Eminem.
This was a lot of people's introduction.
This has one of the worst sets of singles from any of his albums, but the deep tracks that weren't released as singles are all perfect.
Dude, yes. He's got so much. I mean, the only reason Eminem Show didn't make it on mine is I knew you were going to pick it, and I really didn't want to go there because I didn't want to put too many doubles.
Right. So I remember my girlfriend at the time, like I would listen to it all the time, and she listened with me, and the final track, my dad's gone crazy with his daughter on it a little bit.
My dad's gone crazy.
The second verse is just this absolutely insanely fast rap string of raps, and that was another one that I could do all the parts. I probably couldn't do that right now off the top of my head though.
Was that the Rennie?
Yeah. Rennie to go. Goddamn. Yeah.
You ain't got nothing.
Yeah, I probably could.
Don't say nothing.
Yeah, if it came on, I could do it, but I can't do it off the top of my head like the other ones. Like we were listening to it, and she's like, I just feel bad because I know every word to the song, and it's just an awful song. Like the content of it is awful. The song is good, but the content is awful. And I was like, yeah, but it's fucking awesome.
It's so good. Fuck that shit, bitch. Eat a motherfucking dick. Chew on a prick. I mean, who else can
I'd rather
drop
put out a motherfucking gospel record? Oh, were you gonna let me keep going? Keep talking over me.
So no, I was gonna say keep going. And that's the most dick innuendo I've ever heard in a rap song where I'm not just like, okay, that's done.
A lot of dick per second in that song.
Yeah, there's a lot of wieners.
So my favorite song is either Cleaning Out My Closet because it really hit my like 15-year-old teen angst at the time.
So hard, dude.
I didn't even really have that big of problems with my parents. It just like hit it. Like I was just any angst I felt like went straight into Cleaning Out My Closet or Till I Collapse, which has become my favorite in later years because it bangs so hard.
It is his most banging song he's ever made.
I couldn't pick one for this album because both of them are good.
Just that each
and
time.
And for my
that,
number one, I have two
hits.
favorites too. Yeah.
Till I Collapse.
See, I will. Song,
sorry, go ahead. No, well, I was just gonna say the Cleaning Out My Closet. I do not get along with my biological mother at all.
So there you go. Boom.
Yeah. So that was kind of my way of telling her to fuck off. When she kept bugging me, I would just be like, yeah, said I'm sorry, Mom.
At that time, I was 15, 16 years old, so pretty much anything my mom said or did to me, if I didn't agree with it, it felt like I was living this song, even though it was like really like, you can't go out tonight because we have things to do tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna throw on clean out my closet now. The worst song is Drips, which I have no fucking clue what Drips is.
Oh, that song Drips?
Yeah.
It's about STDs.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't like it.
It's just a weird ass song.
I gotta do my number one first. All right, number one. Drumroll. Country Grammar, Nelly, 2000.
What? Dude, no.
You don't think Country Grammar is a perfect album?
No, but it's a great album. Not number one worthy.
Ranked 8.86. This was my first rap album I ever had. It still holds up. Every single song on it does. I thought, based on my own taste, that this is what would win out, and the math proved it out. So thank you, math. There's not a bad song on it. I ranked 4 songs at 10s. There are bad Cedric the Entertainer skits, though.
That's pretty. I mean, 4 songs at 10s. That's crazy.
Yeah, let me see what they were. I still got the spreadsheet. Don't worry. Country Grammar, obviously. Ride With Me, obviously. EI. All the singles on the radio were all 10s. And then For My, featuring Lil Wayne. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 9s.
Damn.
Like, I love every song on this album.
It's a good album. I think Nelly, for me, was just a little late. Like, my older sister loved Nelly. Mm-hmm. Had everything. I had posters all over her wall. Loved everything. I remember when Sweat and Suit came out.
I liked Sweat and Suit. I don't like them now. Like, they're not good in retrospect, but I loved them when they came out.
But yeah, in the lead up to those albums coming out, she played nothing but this album. So, I mean, I was pretty young, and I was just like, I'm sick of this shit.
I loved Nelly. Like, Nelly was my favorite rapper from 2000 to probably 2004 when Sweat and Suit came out. Just with Country Grammar was great. I loved his second album that I can't think of the name of.
Band-Aid.
No, that's what he wore on his face.
Cheekbone.
With Hot and Her on it. Not a great song, but
Hot and Her
had Pimp Juice on it.
Pimp Juice. Oh, I haven't heard that song in so long.
I gotta look it up, man.
You got to. Got my Pimp Juice. Ooh.
He was in The Longest Yard at that time with Adam Sandler. Like, I thought that was funny as hell. Nellyville was his second.
Nellyville. How did we miss that?
And then he came out with Sweat and Suit, and then he went straight downhill after that, and then he probably raped several women. So
he ran out of shit to rap about.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only rap about St. Louis so many times.
Plus he had Shake Your Tail Feather on the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack, which is just fantastic, with Murphy Lee and P. Diddy.
God, Diddy.
But just, he had great features on it. He had Lil Wayne on a song. This is like early Lil Wayne, like 16-year-old Lil Wayne. The Saint Lunatics always like struck my fancy for some reason. I loved Murphy Lee. So I don't know. To me, it's perfect. Again, I got 2 favorite songs, For My featuring Lil Wayne and Country Grammar, which, again, that's probably one, if you started, I could probably sing every word to the first verse of it.
I think like 90% of the American population could get down on that song. Or 90% of the adult American population.
Country Grammar's so good.
Yeah, everybody knows that song.
Worst song is Though Dem Rappers, and that's another one. Like, I like that song. I just had to pick something because we said we were going to pick a worst song.
Yeah, fair enough.
What do you got for number 1? Drum roll. I can't believe you don't agree with Country Grammar.
This is by far the newest album on my list. It's Damn by Kendrick Lamar from 2017.
I will say a perfect album, but it's an album of perfect 7s in my book.
I thought that. I have a couple songs I didn't really like. Well, I have one song I didn't like, and it's not that I didn't really like it, it just wasn't my favorite, but I listened to this album every day for like 4 months. I had it in my work truck, and
it's really good.
It's a fantastic album.
It's another one like Yeezus where it's better if you listen to it from beginning to end all the way
through. Absolutely. And I wasn't really a big fan of To Pimp a Butterfly.
No, it was very slow.
Yeah, I just don't feel like it was really creative, creative Kendrick. Whereas this whole album I thought was creative as shit. It reminded me of Good Kid, Mad City, just better, just more relevant to my life.
He got back to where he should be.
And how often does that happen? Like, this was a truly inspired album, in my opinion.
Plus, you got Bad Girl Riri rapping on it.
Yeah. But favorite song on there is Triple X featuring U2.
Really?
Yeah.
I picked that as the worst.
What? Yeah. I love the opening 45 seconds of that song. It really gets me into it. But my least favorite is Love featuring Zachary.
Mm-hmm.
Just I didn't really feel it. I'm not a big Rihanna fan, but I love that song that he's on with Rihanna.
Yep.
Great song. He's got a lot of fucking good songs on there. Humble is okay.
Humble's really good.
Humble's really good. I say okay because I don't think that's Kendrick's style. Because it's more of like just a banger. Like, it's not really...
It was his meeting halfway with the mumble rap that is
Exactly.
popular.
Exactly.
It was like the slow, let's take pauses, let's be like Drake kind of thing to get people to buy into the album, basically. Like, it was his first single released, so people would say, okay, I got to get this album.
Yeah, and I mean, I still bang that song. I was listening to Kendrick earlier today.
We forgot to go to the Twitter. Damn. All right, we'll do that in a minute.
We'll do that in a sec. But yeah, that's my top album of all time, man. Front to back. Probably my top
Country
two favorite albums ever made. Let's hear what Twitter has to say, guys. Let us know what's better, Country Grammar or Damn.
Oh, yeah, we'll put that up on the poll this week. So we asked on Twitter, what is your favorite all-time rap album? The choices were the Carter 3, Life After Death, and the Black Album. So the Carter 3 got 20% of the vote. Life After Death got 25%. Black Album with a measly 4%. I could not believe that.
I couldn't either. I was amazed when I saw that.
Other comes up with 51%. So let's read some of the comments that we got. At Great Lakes Crime with NWA. That one. Which I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
At Heat Override says, at the Real Spice 1, America's Nightmare. I have no idea what that is, but apparently it features Tupac, Method Man, E40. So
yeah, I saw that. Never heard of it.
I don't know who Spice is. No. At Anxiety, check out the Anxiety podcast. I was a guest on that a few weeks ago, talking about my struggles with anxiety. So check that out. It talks about Juvenile and Death Row's Greatest Hits. Not a Juvenile fan. I assured him I would not be picking Juvenile. At Suck My Fanfic, our friends over there, Go Gators, picked For Your Eyes Only. That's a Tupac, right? No?
Maybe? I have no idea.
I don't know. I gotta look it up now. I thought it was Tupac. That's All Eyes on Me is what I'm thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
For Your Eyes Only is J. Cole. Ugh. Never mind. I take back my shout out. Reverse shout out. J. Cole's fucking terrible. We're not friends anymore, Suck My Fanfic. But seriously, check out Suck My Fanfic podcast because they're great.
Yeah, they are great. We like them a lot.
I love they do reviews of fan fiction. It's just hilarious. At Glenn Thinks Stuff with Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. Glenn is a mass supporter of the Wu-Tang Clan. Good for him. Got a good
fuck with.
They're not anything to fuck with. We got a good conversation between him and Conspired about Wu-Tang. Dave Chappelle in there, all that good stuff. At the Ghost Runners TV says Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Had a lot of Kanye talk, but actually that album did not make either of our lists. Mike and Oscar know what's up. At MM and Oscar, the Eminem Show, obviously.
Yes.
Do they know what the better Eminem song is? Shout out Mike and Oscar. Reverse shout out Suck My Fanfic again. At URL Alone says Jay-Z getting no love, but he's a billionaire and married to Beyonce, so he's doing good.
Yeah, he's cool.
At Me Saint KY, Henry's mom, Warren G, Regulators,
Warren G,
mount up, G-Funk getting some love.
Get that G-Funk.
At the Blitz Morning says Back to Fuck Up, Onyx. And I know this is just great radio for everyone to hear me read tweets, but honestly, people like hearing their names. So thank you guys for participating, and I'm going to keep reading because we want people to participate.
We really enjoy it. I like talking with you guys.
Yep. At Fat Packs Podcast, Tribe Called Quest, Love Movement, which I had Beat Rhymes and Life on my honorable mentions, and I just couldn't get them to crack the top 10. I love Tribe. I just they weren't formative for me at all. So I don't have any feeling behind them. I just like them. Do you like Tribe?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. They're on my periphery.
Yeah,
I got mad respect for them, but they're on my periphery.
Yeah, at Mr. Self-Destruct You, Cypress Hill, something or other. Not a big Cypress Hill fan.
Yeah.
At Florida Men Pod, Licensed to Ill, Beastie Boys. Does that count?
Fuck no, man. That ain't no rap album.
I didn't think so. That was kind of my thought. Sorry, reverse shout out at Florida Men Pod.
Don't mean to sound mean, but...
At Jay Blakowski, Joe Blakowski, he says, hashtag enough said, ready to die.
Right. Yes, sir.
I agree with that. At author V Costello, Run DMC, Raising Hell. We got a ton of feedback on Twitter, guys.
We did get a ton.
At Nobody William, Insane Clown Posses. That definitely doesn't.
That was when I saw that. I just said, and I'm done with Twitter for now.
At the Sibs Cast, at Cast Sibs, they just promoted their own show. So fuck you guys. That's not what this is for. Sorry. At Trisha1312, Licensed to Ill again and again. Yeah, not a rap album. No. Beastie Boys are good, but not what we're looking for here. Sorry.
Nope.
Not a total fuck you like the guy who like promoted his own podcast on our chain, but whatever. Hey, this is getting a lot of likes and retweets. I better put my own shit in it that has nothing to do with what they're talking about. That's not what this is for. Interact and we'll interact back. That's how it works.
Yes. We're not going to go to your show and give it shout outs, especially if it's not rap related.
Yes. God. If you're like, hey, I did my own list of top 10 rap albums, check out this too, then all right, we'll give you a shout out. But you were just like, no, here's my show that is about siblings.
Double reverse shout out. Triple reverse. Triple. Yeah, it's got to be a triple.
Yeah. Can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Can't triple double stamp.
So honorable mentions, rapid fire, College Dropout. So these are the 14 others that didn't make my top 10 that made the initial list. College Dropout, Kanye West. Late Registration, Kanye West. Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar. The Adventures of Bobby Ray, B.O.B., which I'm glad that didn't make it because I didn't want to sit here and have to defend the Flat Earther, B.O.B. But I did love that first album of his. The Blueprint, Jay-Z. Again, just not enough bangers. Coloring Book, Chance the Rapper. You listening to Chance the Rapper?
No.
I've heard he's really good, though. He fits in that kind of Childish Gambino, Vince Staples niche as well. He's really good.
I'll have to check him out.
So this one, I'm not sure if I could have counted it. It was 3 Rings by T-Pain. I don't really know if that counts as hip-hop. I don't know that I could have counted
Periphery, it. That's borderline.
Yeah. I don't know that I could have counted. He legitimately raps one song on there, and I love T-Pain. T-Pain was, like, between 2005 and 2010, again, was one of my favorite artists.
Oh, yeah.
Just probably not rap. Urban Legend, T.I. Great album. Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101, Young Jeezy.
Young Jeezy!
And your boy Kills. Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem. Rule 336 by Ja Rule. This was the first explicit rap album that I owned because I had Country Grammar and like Lil Bow Wow, but those were the edited versions.
The clean Walmart versions.
Yeah. It's tough stuff. And then I got some of my own money from like doing umpiring for softball games in the summer, and I went and bought my own fucking CDs. So yeah.
Take that, Mom and Dad.
Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers was my last one, which it didn't stand a chance. Sorry, Glenn. I know you love Wu-Tang, but they're fine. They're good.
Wu-Tang.
Woo. You got any honorable mentions that we haven't touched on?
I just put 2 on there to be quick. I got So Far Gone.
You saying I wasn't quick?
No, I'm just going to be quicker. How about them apples? I got So Far Gone, Drake's first and only album in my mind. Everything else after that is shit.
Thank Me Later was good.
Yeah.
And then it's like he just had this decline. Like his whole career was just a decline the whole time.
He's still pretty popular, but I'm not a big fan.
In terms of quality, subjective quality to me.
Yes, yeah. And my other one is Earl. Earl Sweatshirt's self-titled album. He's like 15, but he's got some straight bars. Like his song Earl, such a banger. And I remember seeing the music video. It was ridiculous. It was super fucked up, but it's super fake. I'm sure some people know what I'm talking about. But the song is great, and those are my honorable mentions.
Awesome. Top 3 rappers of all time.
This is tough, but I'm rapid fire. Biggie, Earl, Kendrick.
Okay. Eminem, Biggie, T.I. Which is weird because T.I. didn't make any of my top 10s, but a good T.I. song is better than a lot of like good other people's songs.
Man,
good T.I. songs are great.
I just feel like they're few and far between.
Lately, definitely, but there was a time, again, 2004 to about 2008, that he had 5 or 6 good songs a year. But again, the albums were rough. They had a lot of very skippable songs.
Yeah.
But when T.I.'s on his game, I would rather listen to him than a lot of other things.
Fair enough.
And then any rappers that you like that like we haven't gotten a chance to talk about, they don't have any perfect albums, anything like that just deserve a shout out.
I got a couple. I got like Big Sean. He's got a few okay songs. The Alchemist. He's more of like a producer.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
But he's got good albums. E40.
Oh, that's because you're Californian.
Yep.
Gross.
California. Ugh. That's my E40.
That's a good impression.
Yeah.
Sounds just like him, actually.
Celebrity, social life. I'm a beast like that. The Game.
The Game's first album was really good.
Fire.
Really good.
50 Cent. And I'm going to go with Drake's old album. So basically I touched on that one already.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about Kid Cudi. He was on my list. Murphy Lee is another one that I always liked. Like, he's not good, but I always liked him.
I've never heard of Murphy Lee.
He's one of the Saint Lunatic. He's the Saint Lunatic with like the really high voice, and he did a song with Jermaine Dupri. This was like because he put out a solo album and had one single that was on the radio. It was called "What the Hook Gonna Be." It was "What the Hook Gonna Be." I ain't putting no fucking hook on this beat. You don't remember that song?
Not off the top of my head, but your rendition was priceless.
Yeah, I'm sure it was perfect. Look it up. I think he was the one. He was on the "Shake Your Tail Feather." From the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack too. It was Nelly, Diddy, and Murphy Lee. So he's the one that's not Nelly or Diddy. Then Tribe Called Quest, I already talked about them a little bit. And then Fabulous. I love Fabulous. But again, like it's just like there's not enough really good stuff there.
Yeah. Same as Genuine.
And then it's exactly the same as Genuine. And then Ludacris was another one that's kind of on the same.
Old Luda is pretty good, dude.
Yeah, Old Luda is really good. Like, his good songs are really good, but, like, again, no just perfect albums. Like, all of his albums have a lot of flaws on them, I think.
Quick one. What's Luda's best banger?
I don't know.
The answer is Blueberry Yum Yum.
Blueberry Yum Yum's really fucking good.
Yeah, that song is on point.
I don't even smoke. I've never smoked weed, and I love Blueberry Yum Yum. What's Your Fantasies up there? Saturday's up there. I don't know. It's hard because he does that really good. He can put out a great banger,
definitely,
and then like 4 bad songs right after it on the album.
The banger will carry him every time, though.
Yep. And then Talib Kweli is another one who I didn't get into at the time, and I'm kind of upset because I've gotten to him more recently, and he was really great. And like I feel bad that I didn't get to experience him in his time and really like become a fan of his.
I had a buddy that was a big fan of his. I could never really get into him on the periphery.
And this was when I was in my Nelly phase, and like he was my brother's friend at college, and like I would go and I would be like, I would argue with him. I was like, well, Nelly's good because he makes music that people want to listen to, that like everyone wants to listen to. And he's like, nah, you got to listen to Talib Kweli, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's just a lyricist and his beats are good and blah. I'm like, but like, you can't understand anything he's saying half the time. Like, the beats are good as rap music, but they're not good as popular music. So at this time, I'm more into popular music than like rap music. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
So I'm like, yeah, I get it. But he's like, Nelly's for like 15, 16-year-old girls. I'm like, dude, I'm a 16-year-old boy. Like, that's who I'm trying to focus on.
Exactly. I'm trying to make
I want like the same things they like. Yeah.
I want them to like me.
Shout out Casey Whale if you're listening. I'm on the Talib Kweli bus now. You don't have to sell me on him anymore. I'm sorry I slept on him for so long.
You know, he's going to listen and be like, oh, thank you.
I highly doubt he's listening. If you are, hit me up. All right. I think that's all we got for rap albums.
I think that's all we got.
All right.
Well, we appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah, we should say some things now. Yeah, thanks for listening. You can check us out on Twitter at APA something, where there's always polls and stuff to interact with. We love the interaction, as we read a lot of it today. Again, if you interact, we'll probably shout you out.
It's fun. We like it.
You can also send us feedback through our email, podcastaboutSomething@gmail.com. We have merch on TeePublic. You can go to tpublic.com and search for a podcast about something or APA something, or you can go to tpublic.com/user/APA something, and you'll see all our merch. You can get any type of thing you want with 2 different logo designs on them. So check that out.
They're super cool. Do it.
We also have Patreon. Go to patreon.com/a-podcast about something and see all the kind of the cool stuff we have. We have random reviews, pilot projections, and of course, for only $1 a month, War Get To Me, our Season 8 Game of Thrones breakdown every week.
Boom. Check it.
Yeah, check it out. It's cool. We just finished, we recorded the War Get To Me right before this for episode 2 of Season 8, so check that out.
Definitely. It's worth the $1 a month.
Yes, it's worth my $1 a month. Yeah. They don't let me subscribe to my own Patreon. Otherwise, I would.
I do.
Thank you, Nick. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all of the other patrons that don't exist yet, but will soon.
Love you guys.
All of our music is provided by Those Cats. Please check them out on Twitter or wherever you get music. They are really fucking great, if I do say so myself.
They are pretty great, and you guys stay sassy.
Stay classy.